Over the last week or so, Ford has become one of the most talked about stocks in the world, and it's all because of this, the Ford F-150 Lightning. It's the first really competitive entrant to the electric pickup truck market in the world, and within a few hours of being announced, almost 50,000 pre-orders had been made. In a time where electric vehicle stocks seem to be valued on nothing but the magic dust that makes Tinkerbelle fly, the prospect of Ford transitioning into the electric car market has piqued a lot of people's interest. And the question right now is, where is Ford's price going to go? And that's what we're going to discuss today. I'm Max, this is Stoic Finance, and today we're talking about Ford and the F-150 Lightning. So to set the scene for you guys a little bit, on the 19th of May, Ford announced that they would be making a new variant of the best-selling consumer vehicle in the world, the F-150 pickup truck. This follows the recent release of the Ford Mustang Mach-E, an electric crossover SUV that has been very well received and seems to have sold very well so far. By all accounts, the F-150 Lightning looks like it will sell like hotcakes as well. It has already secured a lot of pre-orders. It doesn't look stupid like the Tesla Cybertruck, and I've yet to find anyone who doesn't like the way it looks. It starts at $40,000, which is a really good price for this kind of vehicle, and as all electric vehicles have to have these days, it has the option of 560 brake horsepower for good measure. Now, since the announcement of this truck, Ford's stock price has jumped from $12 a share to $15, which might not sound like a lot when comparing it to Tesla's price increase over the last year, but that is a pretty hefty gain off of what was basically just a press conference. Understandably, a bunch of YouTubers have started to talk about Ford's stock as they think it has potential to skyrocket over the coming months as it starts to be valued as an electric car maker, not just a car maker. Today, we're going to go over what the future holds for Ford, what I think will happen, and why ultimately I will not be investing in Ford at this moment. The reception for the F-150 Lightning seems to be positive no matter where you go. Ford, not Tesla, is making the electric truck that will change the EV industry. Ford stocks won't be this cheap for long. Ford boosts electric vehicle spending to more than $30 billion, aims to have 40% of volume all electric by 2030. Stop worrying and love the F-150 Lightning. It seems that all people really wanted from an electric truck was a normal truck with a new powertrain. Tesla didn't need to invent some stupid cast iron bodywork and make the Cybertruck look futuristic. All they needed to do was deliver a solid truck that is practical and green. But Tesla haven't done that. Ford have. Along with the Mustang Mach-E, which follows a similar principle, it's just a good looking SUV that has electric motors instead of an engine. Ford really seems to have got electric right. They're clearly going to be very successful in areas where pickup trucks and SUVs are the norm. But in most of the world, pickup trucks and SUVs are not the norm. This brings me on to my problem with Ford and what appears to be their plan for the future. Now, everyone knows that most governments are pushing electric vehicles hard right now. And within 50 or so years, pretty much every car sold in the world is very likely to be powered by electricity, not petrol. Understandably then, investors want to know how each car company plans to either hold on to the market share that they already have or expand their market share as we transition into electric vehicles. Tesla is the most obvious example of this. They have come out of nowhere to dominate the electric vehicle market for its first few years and are very well positioned to maintain their place as one of the world's major automakers for the foreseeable future. They have a decently wide range with an SUV, a luxury sedan, two separate compact sedans, and they have plans for supercar killer, the Tesla Roadster, and a smaller, cheaper $25,000 car that would be perfect for the European market. In Europe, VW Group, which includes Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche, and a bunch of others, have dived right into the deep end when it comes to electric vehicles. They have already designed and started selling 9 separate electric vehicles so far, with more on the way. BMW and their subsidiaries are in the same boat, as are Mercedes and the Daimler Group. All of these European car manufacturers are already producing and selling multiple different electric vehicles covering every niche. They are making very small hatchbacks like the e-up, they are making small SUVs like the ID.4 and large SUVs like the e-tron. They're making supercar sedans like the Porsche Taycan and luxury sedans like the EQS. They're even making an electric VW camper van that looks like a troned out version of the original one. Their plans for electrification cover all bases and will ensure that when someone wants to buy their first ever electric vehicle, that they will not have to leave their favourite car brand because they have a wide enough selection to cater to every customer. These European car makers and Tesla are going to be able to target markets that they have never been able to properly penetrate before. In Japan, the options for electric car lovers are pitiful. Toyota, Honda and Hyundai are leagues behind what Tesla, VW and Mercedes are making. So, when a Japanese person wants to buy their first ever electric vehicle, they will look at the brands that they are used to buying from, say Toyota or Honda. and they'll realize that VW or Tesla offer far more options. This is how you take market share from your competitors. You offer something that they don't. This is how you expand your company and make it more valuable. If you are an auto manufacturer and you want to increase your share price, this is the perfect time and way to do it. But for some reason, Ford are not trying to expand. They are merely trying to hold on. And that's where my problem with Ford comes into play. Ford already holds a very dominant position in the US automotive market. The normal F-150 has been the best-selling car in the US for over 40 years in a row. Ford is one of the biggest manufacturers in the world, but it's always been one of the big three car makers in the US, and that's where almost all of its sales go. If Ford wants to become a bigger company, it can't just sit on its laurels and remain the most popular car maker in the US. It needs to expand its influence to the rest of the world. The only electric cars that Ford have announced are the Mustang Mach-E, an SUV which isn't even being sold in most countries, and the F-150 Lightning, which also won't be sold in the vast majority of countries. These are both American cars for American markets. All Ford is doing by concentrating on electrifying its American bestsellers and neglecting everything else is trapping itself within a market that is growing at a much slower pace than the developing world. In order for me to invest in Ford, I would have to have absolute faith that it was going to pursue a growth at all costs strategy like Tesla have done. I would have to see Ford target Europe, Asia, Africa, South America, and North America. But it isn't doing that. Ford needs to make an electric Focus, an electric Corsa, and an electric Cougar. And even then, it would still be 3 or 4 years behind its major competition. If in 50 years, Ford is still one of the top 3 manufacturers in the US, but also still struggles outside of the US, then it isn't going to be worth 10 times as much as today. If Ford only maintains its current market share, it's never going to see huge stock gains like Tesla has. And that's the only real reason I can see for investing in Ford right now. It's if you are hoping for hype. There are people who are predicting that Ford will 10x over the next 2 years and that before long it will have a valuation on par with Tesla's. This is all based on people valuing Ford as a tech company with crazy growth that it just isn't going to achieve. But obviously this is a very risky thing to bet on. Hype stocks are already being hit hard, tech stocks are down, Tesla is down, Palantir is down, and none of them seem to be itching to get back up to their previous valuations. So to bet on Ford coming out of nowhere to become the next best hype stock that all the YouTubers are peddling day and night is a very long shot in my opinion. If Ford wants that hype stock status, it needs to expand its horizons, not stay set in its ways. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I've been thinking about making a few other videos like this, giving my 2 cents on a few companies that seem to be getting a lot of attention. So let me know if that might be interesting, or if you'd like me to make a video on any other companies in particular. I've also noticed that there are some scams in the comments, so obviously don't call or text any number in the comments. I'm never going to post my number there. I'll delete these comments as they come through, but some will always slip through, so don't get caught out. Thanks for watching. Until next time.